of where he came from, his scouting background. And I do think that Dana Brown could be a good general manager. I just don't know how much power he's being given.
Well, that's what I was going to say,
but
too.
I thought about this, too, real quick. I thought about this last night, too. Remember when Dana Brown was hired? Dana Brown was hired, in January, February,
right
after they played general manager.
Yep.
Do you remember who the finalists were for the general manager job? It was Brad Ausmus.
Oh, that's right.
It was Brad
That's
Ausmus.
Right. Yep.
What does that tell
Who's
you?
the
that
bench
Brad,
coach for the Yankees.
That Brad Ausmus almost got this job because he's best friends with Jeff. What does that tell you? What does that tell you with this front office? They don't have real front office people running this organization, and everything adds up to that. The time that they hired, first off, it goes back to Click, that they moved on from Click. Then that they hired Dana Brown and that Brad Ausmus was a finalist after they played general manager for 3 months. Not empowering Dana Brown and still having Bagwell as kind of the face of the front office. Reggie Jackson doing podcasts saying how it's this big, collection of people, what do you call them, the Crane Gang, that are making these decisions. The Astros do not have a real front office. They don't.
And you know what it is? It's buddies and ballers. That's what they want to make it up. They want to have it like they're foursome on the golf course, and while they're playing 18, they can solve all of a baseball team's problems, and they're all either ex-Hall of Famers or they're buddies because you're the owner of the team with the guy that carries the big wallet. And it's not a sustainable way to run a baseball team short term or long term, and you're seeing that as Astros fans, because there's no reason why this window of opportunity in this golden era of Astros baseball couldn't have continued to get to double digits, to get to more than a decade, if it was run the right way. But what we're seeing now is what we talk about across sports when we start saying the Astros weren't in on those big-time, long-term, lots of money deals. It's because one or two moves when they backfire on you could be the demise of no matter how successful you've been. Now, unfortunately, we're being force-fed that on a daily basis because you weren't that far off from being great again, but instead, because of the way that they went about the last 2 off seasons, you're now getting further and further away from being respectable.
So you can survive the money moves because, you can just throw money at that. It's the stuff that you're passing on, though. It's not strengthening the bench. It's not strengthening the entirety of the pitching staff. It's not trading from a surplus and you're back into the rotation for that utility infielder. It's those little moves that whenever you're a rich former big leaguer on the golf course, you're not working hard to make those moves, whereas a James Click would, a Jeff Luhnow would. This organization hasn't done that in the last 2 years. Nothing in the last 2 years has shown you that the Astros are this serious organization. Now, they'll throw money because they want to win. I think that they want to win. I don't have zero doubts that they want to win because they signed a Josh Hader to cover up for a Kendall Graveman. But it's just all of the steps along the way they're overlooking because of the Crane Gang. Texter says that you guys were all on board with Hader whenever he was signed. Yeah, I fell for it, man. Somebody throws a sparkling object at you, you're going to fall for it. I fell for Jose Abreu. But if you, when is spending $19 million in a closer who's going to pitch 60 innings a year, when does that make financial sense? When are you going to get return on investment on that? Never.
Plus, the reason why we were in on it is, because remember the conversations leading up to that, was when are they going to do something? Do anything. They're sitting there twiddling their thumbs while guys are being signed, other guys are getting away, your own are walking out the door, and they haven't done a single damn thing in the entire offseason. And then all of a sudden, they made this big splash. And you were like, wow, okay. Well, one, that proves he's not cheap. And two, he's in complete go-for-it mode again. So we'll just see how it works. But they got 3 premier guys at the back of the bullpen. Let's see if they were done yet. Because we also didn't think if he was willing to spend that much money that he was just going to stop there, and there might be chance and hope for him to still fill those holes and the shortcomings that we talked about. Instead, that was it. And now, sitting where we're sitting, watching this team on a night-by-night basis, you're going, that was the worst way to possibly spend the money if that's all you were going to do. If you were in complete go-forward mode and that was just the first domino of other things you were going to do to strengthen this team, super. Yeah. But because you didn't, that's why the excitement didn't last very long.
I'm not going to argue with the texter either. I was happy when they signed Hader. I was happy when they signed Jose Abreu because it's the shiny object. But is the best general manager or the best front office executive, is he signing the shiny object or is he making the wise move time after time after time? And let's forget that the margin for error and winning at the professional level is razor thin. So you have to be making the best move almost every single time. 713-780-ESPN. Let's go out to the HRMP listener line. Gary, you're in the Hive with the Bees. What's up, Gary?
Hey, guys, first-time caller. Man, I don't even know what to start. This is a disaster, man. This even takes it back to the 2020, 2022 Houston Texans, the way the Astros are being handled right now. I mean, the way Jeff Bagwell has gotten himself into the organization, it's exactly the same way Jack Easterby was, doing his own thing with the Texans. It's just a disaster.
Appreciate the call,
Thanks,
Gary.
Gary.
I mean, I don't know if I want to put the Easterby label on him, but he has been a disaster. Yes.
It's the correlation or lack thereof of because you played the game that you know all aspects of the game. I mean, there are plenty of guys that played this game at a very high level that either credit to them, they never wanted to be a general manager because they didn't have the skill set, or they just decided that wasn't for me, or for whatever reason it didn't work out when they got the gig if they did get the chance. The fact is that there's too many guys that think because they were successful on the field they know every aspect of the game, and they don't know and have the wherewithal to say there's certain things that I just don't know, like trying to balance a salary cap and understand numbers and taxes and all the things and how it affects not just the year in front of me but the next 3 to 5 years as we go about trying to run the business of baseball. It happens, right? Charles Barkley forever and a day said that he was going to be a general manager someday. And the fact of the matter was he better have 6 analytics guys and a couple of other guys because he thought just because he was a hell of a player and he thought he knew talent that's all there was to it. And there was so much more. That's a perfect example here. Just because Reggie's a Hall of Famer and Bagwell's a Hall of Famer and Biggio's a Hall of Famer doesn't mean that they know how to balance the books, make shrewd decisions from a financial standpoint, and still understand the ramifications of why you don't do certain deals when you thought that because you had competent general managers that they could at least explain to you, hey, we're not – the return on investment from a Crane perspective as a businessman just doesn't work for us if we make moves this way.
We talk about this a lot, like in coaching, where look at all the former players who have went into coaching and they do not have success, like Clyde Drexler, hate to say it, go Cougs, Patrick Ewing at Georgetown, Chris Mullen at St. John's. Some people would throw Penny Hardaway into the mix at Memphis. Derek Fisher in the
Jason
NBA.
Kidd didn't have a whole lot of success. He's in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's easier in the NBA than like college. That's really beside the point. But you're right. Like these superstars have trouble becoming coaches because one, I don't think they can really relate to like the average player. Secondly, like what is the fire in their belly? Like how much fire in their belly is when you have $50 million in the checking account, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing with the front office. Like I do not want a former Hall of Fame first baseman running the team in 2024. Someone said, bring back the nerds. Yeah,
for sure.
Bring back. I still think they have nerds. I just don't think that they value their opinion nearly as much. And they flat out said it. Like, listen how many times Jeff Bagwell is anti-analytics, and he's like, well, we went too far into analytics. Remember whenever he was at the I don't even remember the press conference. It might have been Dana Brown's, where he was holding court in the back room with all the TV guys. Yep. Oh, we went too far into analytics. He is devaluing the analytics right there, where you were built off of analytics. You were at the forefront of analytics, and that's how the golden era was born.
The other thing, too, Jeremy, you think about it, it's the whole credit to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had all the money in the world and realized, I don't want to put in the manpower hours on a daily basis to do what's necessary to be a competent head coach or general manager or somewhere in football other than broadcasting, which is why Romo's doing what he's doing, because he shows up less than 24 hours before a game and he gets oodles of money to work 1 day a week. And now he's being criticized for even that because he's not putting enough effort in, as opposed to when you hear about the NFL coaches that say, hey, doing what we do, we sleep in our office during the season a ton. We're barely home. We're at the office 24/7. We're constantly looking from a week-to-week perspective an advantage that we can get, things we got to do. Multi-millionaires don't need that, don't want that, don't want to sign up for that. And that's a lot of the reason why they put their time in when they were playing. They don't want to do that, but they want all the accolades and the attention. They want people to know that, hey, you know your stuff. You know the game. But if you're not willing to put in the effort, and also the other key is you have to be allowed the ability to do your job. I really believe if Dana Brown was not handcuffed on every move, I still believe I believe, and we talked about this a while back when I said, I think James Click and Dana Brown, this will not be their only stop in baseball, and we will look back on those two guys in their next stops and say, those two guys were damn good general managers. They just weren't allowed to do what they were supposed to do.
I mean, Click won a World Series. I agree with you about Dana Brown. I think that Dana Brown is a good, sound baseball decision maker that has not been given full authority when he 100% should be. And there's proof to this. Listen to Reggie Jackson on that podcast. Listen to Jeff Bagwell. Jeff Bagwell had quotes yesterday at the golf course with with Winkler at ABC 13, where he's talking like he's the general manager, like he's the leader of this organization. 713-780-ESPN, HRMP listener line. He says that you're 100% right on all this fire emoji. Not trying to be, just call it like it is. Caller Rob on the southwest side. You're in the Hive with the Bees. What's up, Rob?
Hey, guys. Appreciate you taking my call. I think the biggest issue we're going on right now with the Astros is everybody can see the mistakes that they've made. It's the inability to swallow their pride and get rid of the mistakes that were made. Jose Abreu is going to get paid, whether he's on the team or not. It's very similar. I'm an Aggie grad. It's very similar to Jimbo Fisher. You paid him. He signed the contract. He's going to get paid no matter what. You can pay him to go away, or you can pay him to hurt the team. It's about time to start cutting the people that need to be cut. Abreu needs to be gone. Singleton's garbage. We've got a kid in AAA who can make Jake Myers look silly. Putting Jake Myers on the roster was a mistake coming out of spring training. And then you move from there. There are people out there in free agency that can do better. Are they all-stars? No. But can they do better? Yes. I don't understand moving Bregman where they are. We're still playing back of the baseball card with him, too. Let him figure himself out in the 8-hole. But the pride is getting in the way of the Astros right now. And you're right. It starts at the top.
I think it's pride and it's ego. Appreciate the call, Gary. Look, I think that's spot on. I think that, again, the other thing that you would like to see is if the owner is that much committed to winning and he realizes and he hates the fact that the fingers are constantly being pointed at him and his foursome of golf buddies in the Crane gang, then you know how you can rectify this still? You can still spend some money. You can go out and spend some money and make the commitment financially. Do less, spend more, and get the hell out of the way and let a guy do what he could see still capable of doing to fix some of these holes. You know you're getting pitchers back. If you need another bat, go out and sign Brandon Belt. Sign a guy that maybe at the start of the year you weren't interested in entertaining that much money for a guy on a short-term deal when you had what you had. But if you get rid of Abreu and Singleton and you bring in a guy like Brandon Belt and then you call up one of the guys from Sugar Land that you feel like at least could back him up, you're instantaneously a better baseball team, and at least that's the kind of commitment people can get behind, as opposed to I'm committed to showing you I have the biggest ego and the most money in the room, and I could do this job better than anybody that's out there for a general manager, and then you're tripping all over yourself every single day.
713-780-ESPN. I agree with almost everything Rob said, like the putting the pride aside, I agree. Crane should be like, hey, let's let the baseball people make the baseball – I shouldn't say that because Bagwell and Jackson are baseball people. Let's let the general managing people be the general manager. I disagree slightly with Jake Myers. I do think that Jake Myers is a professional Major League Baseball player. Is he an everyday center fielder? Probably not. He's probably a platoon option. I think he's more than capable of starting against left-handed pitching, and his defense is going to play. I think he's more of a fourth outfielder that starts against lefties, not an everyday outfielder. I think we're seeing that. And then he mentioned like the free agents. There's free. You don't have to build through free agency. Trade a JP France for a utility infielder. Make your bench better. We're talking about a surplus before three other starters come back. Like we're talking about JP France and Hunter Brown being bumped from the starting rotation, while Jose Urquidy, Luis Garcia, and Lance McCullers are still on the injured list and coming back at some point, hopefully. So why don't you have the foresight in the offseason? Okay, JP France, he probably pitched way better than he really is. We know that deep down. This is a general manager that's having to make these tough decisions, but also make a good baseball decision, and you trade that guy for another Mauricio Dubon type, because that could happen. Or you trade the guy for a real sixth-inning middle reliever, because that can happen. These are the small moves that the Astros are not making because they're being run by Hall of Fame baseball players, and they're not letting the general manager do the general manager stuff. And the Bregman stuff, I agree with batting Bregman second right now because they have to get Alex Bregman going. If the Astros are going to be good, Alex Bregman has to be good, and the best chance to make Alex Bregman good is to give him Yordan Alvarez protection. I will agree that if it was Game 7 of the World Series, Rob, he'd be batting eighth. But because it's still Game 20-something, I would have him hit second. But for the most part, I agree with what you said.
Well, the other thing, too, Jeremy, is we kid about it now because it's become such a catchphrase. But the fact is, 4/5 of the Crane gang are supposed to be trusted because of the back of their baseball card as players, and none of them have any kind of general manager experience or reason for you to believe that in their current roles as part of an influential group that runs this baseball team that they know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, it's alarming. 713-780-ESPN. A lot of people want to weigh in on this, so we'll continue this conversation. The Astros, why are you mad at the Astros? There's a lot of different reasons. They lose again today. They get swept at Wrigley before they head out of country to Mexico City. Poor start for the Astros, one of the poorest starts they've had, and it's a poor start in the Golden Era. It's one of the worst starts they've ever had. It's the first time that there have been 12 games under 500 since 2016. The front office is in shambles. Joe Espada's being called Steven Silas. The players aren't performing. What is your frustration with the Houston Astros? 713-780-ESPN, 713-780-3776. It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Guys, we know the weekend's right around the corner. Right now, it looks like it's going to be ominous. It might rain. Guess what? You still want to play golf, even though you had a tee time that's probably going to be washed out? X-Golf Katy is the only place I can recommend for you because it's the best golf simulators I've ever seen in the Houston area, and they are so accurate that even the putting is fantastic, and the chipping. You can play your own golf ball. And the fact is, it costs less than what it would cost to get your tee times at most of the courses around the city. And rain or shine, sunshine or nighttime, you can go to X Golf. You can play 18 holes on 50 courses across the world, or you can use it like a driving range. And because of Shot Tracker, it'll track everything: the distance, the spin, the direction, everything on every shot, so that you're constantly getting better, working on your game no matter the weather or the time of day. It's absolutely fantastic. Go to X Golf Katy online right now and check out how you can book a simulator and get there just like booking a tee time. The only difference is you're not going to get rained out. The weather's not going to play a factor. And it's also the best combination of a sports bar along with a golf range, because you can go there, play 18 holes of golf in an hour and 15 minutes, and then sit there and watch all the TVs, enjoy the great food and drink, and understand it is a combo platter from golf heaven. It is the best simulators and the best food and drink, like a sports bar meets a golf course. It's absolutely fantastic. Tell them I sent you by. Chris is doing a hell of a job, and the business is absolutely flourishing because of it. Go check him out, X Golf Katy, today.
Broadcasting live from the Mobile Veritex Community Bank Studios.
Located at Spanish Flowers Restaurant on Durham.
Here's the Killer Bees, Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
This is a transitional time for the team. I think we can be a little more patient as fans to see how the roster develops. Success is hard to sustain. We'll be fine. Astros were a World Series contender, one of the favorites to win the World Series, one of the favorites to win the American League, and one of my biggest pet peeves. Like the caller yesterday, well, they're tired. These players are tired. They're tired. They're tired. Like they're tired. They're professional big league players, and they're tired. This is another one of my pet peeves. In baseball, success is hard to sustain. And I hate to do this in the city of Houston. Do you know the last time the Yankees had a losing record? Just take a guess. Just guess.
2000
Nope.
and
Nope. Further back than that. When was the last
98.
time? Nope. Further back than that.
89.
1992. The last time the Yankees had a losing record was 1992. Yes, we make fun of them. They haven't won a World Series since 2009. They haven't won a clean World Series since 2000. We make fun of them all the time, and rightfully so. It's good fun, all this rivalry. The whole idea, well, you can't sustain winning. In Major League Baseball, you can. In Major League Baseball, you can sustain winning. You know how you sustain winning? Now, the Yankees used to throw a bunch of money,
right,
and they would have these big payrolls year in, year out. Now, they haven't done that in like the last 10 years. They've actually been called a little bit cheap. Cashman's been called cheap a little bit. Now, those signed some big free agents where they need to be. Garrett Cole. But
trading for Stanton and massive
who can't do that, though?
Right.
I mean, why couldn't you? Like, their pay, like, anybody can do that. You have to be willing to spend a little bit of money. Like I'm not the one saying that as long as I'm here, the window's always open. Jim Crane said as long as I'm here, the window's always open. So we're going to take him for what he said and then try to get his actions to back up his words. You can be a sustained winner in baseball for a long period of time. Do you have to spend a little bit of money from time to time? Yes, you do, but the Astros are spending money. The Astros' problem right now is not that they're cheap. The Astros' problem right now is they're spending money in the wrong areas, that their payroll distribution is poor, not that their payroll is poor. So the Astros can't be good forever. Yeah, they can. They can be good for a long period of time. You know who else is good for a long period of time? Now, they have had some losing seasons in this century. Tampa Bay Rays, who have done it with a $45 million payroll all the time. How do you consistently win at this level for a long period of time? You have a good front office. You have a front office that has a long-term plan that isn't making short-term decisions. Now, maybe some of those moves are taking away from your apex, but they're widening the gap, this window, of how long you can be good. If the Yankees can win for every year since 1993, the Astros can be a sustained winner. If the Tampa Bay Rays, without a few years mixed in here or there where they were below 500, if they can be a perennial team that is a contender with a quarter of the payroll you have, you can absolutely be a sustained winner in baseball, but you have to have good people running the team. You have to have, I'll say, some commitment to salary, and you have to be committed to the long-term plan and never waver off the long-term plan for the short-term goals of Jeff Bagwell.
And the emotions that run into it, too,
Yeah.
because you have to make the shrewd moves, the savvy moves, and you have to take all emotion out of it and realize at a certain time it's time to move on, no matter what that certain player has meant to a team, a community, its history, and everything that goes with it. That's what you have to be focused on. And if you're able to do those things, that's why Tampa Bay's been successful. On the flip side, if you're the Dodgers and the Yankees, you just had a checkbook that was open all the time, and you could afford and sustain no matter what spending you were going to do, because even the worst mistakes can be, and it goes back a segment or two, that not that Crane's willing to do this, but the fact is the way the Dodgers have and the Yankees have been able to recover from some of the risky big name and big money deals they've made is they just continue to spend. They find another guy that's going to be able to fill in or take the job of a Jacoby Ellsbury, or cover up when Stanton's hurt every year, or do the kind of things that big market, big money, big revenue teams can do. If you're not that and you're not the Rays, then you still have the best of both worlds. You have to have great talent evaluation. You have to make savvy and not overly risky, but willing to take the right risk at the right time, and you're willing to pull the plug and cut bait whenever you need to.
In Fuentes, you have to have a farm system. We were completely depleted. That's true. You do have to rebuild the farm. And the Astros, they do have some factors outside of management that contributed to their lack of farm system. They had a couple of first-rounders and second-rounders stripped in back-to-back years for doing something that the rest of Major League Baseball was doing. But the Yankees seem to always have a pretty good farm system. You know who always has a great farm system despite picking at the back of the first round every single year? The Dodgers. The Dodgers are always like top 5 in pipeline.
Look at the young pitchers in the last 4 or 5 years. Urias, Carrot Top. Yeah. The two guys
always
last year, they just plug and played when half their rotation was out. They always have a loaded farm system.
And a lot of times they'll use those minor leaguers to trade for like stars. But that comes from having this unbelievable system. And again, you can do that. The Astros did do that if you have a commitment to doing that. So I don't believe in the whole where the window has to close, that things work in cycles in sports. Most sports they do. Basketball, football, they do for the most part.
And you think
baseball,
about Jordan,
not the case.
Think about Jordan's contract, too, and how team-friendly that deal is.
Yeah.
That gives you the opportunity to use the rest of that money elsewhere and sustain winning, because the best hitter, obviously this year it's arguable with Altuve, one of your two best hitters, that's also your best power guy and RBI guy, is going to be here for the long haul at a very affordable contract.
And Altuve gave you a hometown discount too.
Yes, he
so
did.
You can make the case that both of your best two offensive players are on friendly team contracts. 4690 with all the GM and owner talk. When will the 1 through 9 guys take any criticism? What faith should we have in them? Even if Hader were to be everything he should be, what will it matter if this lineup can't hit? I don't know if you listen to our show. Like, we bang on these guys every single day. Like, we bang on these guys when they're good. What do you think we're doing whenever they're bad? When they're 12 games below 500, of course we're banging on them.
Go back to the Espada conversation. Go listen to some of that on the podcast and realize that the first thing that I said why Joe Espada shouldn't be in the crosshairs and that this is not on him is because of two things. Yeah. Because of the inability of the players on the field to do their jobs and execute the way they're supposed to be, and they're paid well to do so, and the fact that the injuries are stacking up against them at a level that most teams don't sustain in a year the way they've already sustained to start this year. But that's why Joe Espada isn't in the hot seat, because the guys I said yesterday on a rant have to look in the mirror and start evaluating themselves and their shortcomings, and regardless of how much they're paid, do the job that you're supposed to be doing, and this will be a totally different conversation.
713-780-ESPN. Killer Bees broadcasting live from Spanish Flowers, the new one on Durham. This is your spot for Cinco de Mayo. Specials on Cazadores, Patron, Don Julio. They'll be having giveaways here during Cinco de Mayo weekend as well. North Freeway, North Main, newest one right here on Durham and Shepherd. This is your spot to be Cinco de Mayo. It's your spot to be if you have a graduation coming up, graduation party hosted here, any sort of reservations, company banquet, whatever. This is your spot for your reservations, your parties right here at Spanish Flowers, any of the three. Also, if you're looking for a place to watch some ball, I mean, this is a great spot. Margaritas, fajitas, they have TVs everywhere. Not a bad seat in the house, and excellent food to boot. 713-780-ESPN. Let's take a look at the draft. The Astros have put me in a sour mood, and I can't stand that because today's one of my favorite days on the sports calendar. I love the first round of the NFL draft. NFL draft starts tonight, and we kick off our commentary about the NFL draft with Bad Take Boulevard NFL Draft Edition. It's the Killer Bees broadcasting live from Spanish Flowers on Durham on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Hey, before we go to the break, a word from a good friend, Doc Linville. Doc Linville, best in the business at the NeoGraft procedure. He does a ton of positive stuff around this community. He does a lot of plastic surgery, a lot of spot treatments, a lot of Botox, a lot of things where people capitalize on a daily basis. The one thing I know from personal experience, he does the NeoGraft procedure. And for guys that are losing their hair, they're thinning, they're balding, they don't think they can get their hair back, and they don't want to try all the gimmicks that just mask the problem, the NeoGraft is the solution you need, because the NeoGraft is your hair taken from a place where you're never going to lose it. Genetically, you're never going to lose the hair on the sides and the back of your head, no matter how bald you go elsewhere. And that's what Doc Linville told me. And he said, hey, look, your hairline, it's constantly creeping up. He goes, your forehead, it's become an 8 head. You can get it a 4 head again if you just do the NeoGraft. I did all the research. I talked to him. I got his staff involved. I asked questions. They gave me answers. I did the NeoGraft. I could not be happier with the results. I got my hair back. He was absolutely right. It got stronger and longer because it's from that place on the sides and the back of your head where it's never going anywhere. And in 6 to 9 months, I saw such a difference, and everybody else did too. that it was remarkable, the confidence that you get and how much you like the way you look again. Check him out today because you, as a listener to ESPN 97.5, you get a free consultation with Doc and his staff. It normally costs $150 for anybody off the street. Because you listen to us and you go to 975hair.com to make that first appointment, you get it for free. Ask questions. Get answers. No signing on the dotted line, no commitment, no money out of pocket, just you figuring out if it might be something that you'd consider and do. If you do it, I'm telling you from personal experience, you won't regret it. It's absolutely fantastic. Check them out today and tell them I sent you by. Go to 975hair.com.
Killer Bees live from Spanish Flowers on Durham, the newest Spanish Flowers. Great spot to watch a game, have a drink, have some fajitas. Great spot to host your banquet, your graduation party. Also a great spot to spend Cinco de Mayo. Drink specials, giveaways all throughout Cinco de Mayo as well. Spanish Flowers, best Mexican food in the city. All right, Bad Take Boulevard Draft Edition. We're going to try to, what's the old saying? Out of sight, out of mind with the Astros for a little bit.
Sure.
We might get back to it if our listeners want. And it's on right in front of us. But we're going to try to out of sight, out of mind the Astros for a moment. I'm sure we'll have some hot takes either later or tomorrow. But let's get to Bad Take Boulevard NFL Draft Edition, which is too bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's good. But we had some doozies that we're going to have to store up for next week, including some ESPN 97.5 personalities. But first and foremost, if we're having an NFL Draft Bad Take Boulevard Edition, where are we starting? We're starting with Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper's had a bunch of doozies in his career. In fact, Mel Kiper's had some guarantees where Mel Kiper said Mel Kiper would stop working, and he didn't do that. But here was his latest and greatest, a couple of quarterbacks that Mel Kiper has liked.
I'm going to go back to Ritter and say, in this draft class, it's tough not to go with him and not take a leap of faith on Desmond Ritter. He has the attitude, the character, the approach, all that, to want to. He's got all the talent in the world. History tells us talent wins out at that position, at least recently more than ever, okay? I think also when I was watching this, guys, and I'll finish on this with the quarterbacks, all I can think of, this is making Mitch Trubisky some money. This is making Mitch Trubisky, putting in a little bit of more demand than you would have ever thought Mitchell Trubisky could be in, based on what happened with the Chicago Bears at the end of his reign there, okay, his tenure there. Then he goes to Buffalo behind Josh Allen. He kind of just makes everybody see enough to say, hey, could he be a better option? Or could we put him in, pair him with one of these guys, and let them develop?
There you go. Mel Kiper loves himself some Desmond Ritter and Mitch Trubisky. Although Trubisky was a former Pro Bowler.
So was a guy
Mitch
that
Trubisky.
played a quarter of the season.
Tyler Huntley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop using Pro Bowlers as arguments that guys are good. I saw Desmond Ritter play in college. He was at Cincinnati. We were in the American at the time, Power 6. Now in the Big 12, Power 4. I didn't love Ritter coming out of college. I thought Ritter was a pretty good game manager in college. I thought the rest of that roster was really good. Of course, Cincinnati went to a New Year's Six bowl game. I thought his team was really good. I never thought Ritter was great. This is not one where I've agreed with Mel Kiper, and I've agreed with Mel Kiper in the past. But this is not one, and he missed on Desmond Ritter. I think Ritter's a fine backup, but he's not a starter in the NFL.
People in Atlanta thought Desmond Ritter was great for one game after the Texans this last season when he threw for 315 yards against the Texans. But other than that, I think he's now in the UFL.
Is he? He's not on a team?
I think he's on a UFL team.
Desmond Ritter's not in the NFL?
I believe that's true.
I cannot believe that Desmond Ritter's not in the NFL. No, he's with Arizona.
Okay, I thought I saw him playing in a UFL game.
It says he's on Arizona's roster.
Okay.
2024 through present. Yeah, he's got to be in the NFL.
Well, it was in that same draft then. There's one of those guys that was taken highly that's playing in the UFL right now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Mel Kiper's had several. But I also believe that I don't ever think that I'd put my job on the line to say that a guy is going to turn out to be Jimmy Clausen.
Right, that was the big one.
Yeah, that was the massive one. If by 2017 Jimmy Clausen isn't the starting quarterback for the Panthers, that I'll quit my job, and then everybody called him on it and he didn't quit his job. Mad Dog Russo's done that too. But I think that, just watch how much scrutiny Lance takes no matter what he puts out. It's a no-win proposition because everybody's waiting for you to fail. And when you succeed, you're supposed to succeed because everybody knows how talented a guy is. But, that's a tough – when you start taking it to that level with your comments, that's where you can get hurt.
Yeah. What was your biggest draft miss? Do you have one?
I'm trying to think all time.
I have a bad draft miss last year. It was C.J. Stroud. I missed on C.J. Stroud.
I definitely
missed on
I
C.J.
had
Stroud.
concerns about C.J. There's no doubt about it.
I hit on Will Levis, though. I was right on Will Levis. Will
So
Levis
far.
was way better than people thought he would be, and I was the one saying he was going to be good. Just saying. All right, moving along. I'm kind of kidding. Kind of. Colin Cowherd, he lands on Bad Take Boulevard quite often, quite a bit. Here's a guy that he wouldn't have touched back in the day.
There's a lot of concern about Alabama's running back Derrick Henry in the NFL. I wouldn't touch him. I would never touch these running backs for Alabama.
I would never touch these running backs from Alabama. Derrick Henry turned out pretty good.
Derrick Henry's better than pretty good. Yeah, pretty dominant.
Pretty good, that Derrick Henry. I wouldn't touch him. I love – here's one thing that I do like about Cowherd. Colin Cowherd believes what he says. Colin Cowherd will believe what he says. And, look, Look, you're going to miss on takes. You're going to have some things that you say that that you rewind in a year that aren't going to be accurate. But whenever you say something, you should have some conviction. You shouldn't toe the line. You shouldn't ride the fence. I credit Colin Cowherd for saying things with his chest. I don't like Derrick Henry. I wouldn't touch him. It sounds stupid now, but I admire that in the moment. I admire having a take with some bravado.
I think you could say that about Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd.
I think Bayless is way worse, though.
He does it intentionally, but he's like a used car salesman. Is that he will sell it every down to the last second. He will not apologize for it. He will not backtrack from it.
Why should he, though?
Well, because you're making $18, $19 million. Yeah, but there's an art form to it, to where no matter what happens, you just don't care because you are honestly you're looking for the vitriol. You're looking for the anger.
Now I'm cool. I'm cool with you saying what you believe and saying it with your chest, and then in a year, if you turn out to be wrong, and then hey, I was wrong, whatever. Like, no one cares about that. Everybody's gonna be wrong. So that's where I don't like Skip. Like, Skip will argue things even when he's wrong. And like he's been proven wrong, and you have the receipts that he is wrong. He's like, oh, I wasn't wrong. Like, that's the one thing that annoys
But
me.
neither guy will, right? Will Cowherd admit when he's wrong?
I don't listen to Cowherd enough anymore.
I don't either.
I don't. The only time that I listened to Cowherd a lot whenever he was back on ESPN after Mike and Mike. I haven't caught a whole lot of Cowherd. I've never watched or listened to Cowherd after he left ESPN. The only time that I've heard Cowherd is whenever we hear cuts like this.
Or with the Sean Payton stuff.
Yeah, but that's more of a bite. Or you listen to an interview.
Yeah, and he was so hypercritical of ownership and everything in Houston. I wonder what he's saying now. He'd never backtrack it. He'd never walk it back.
No, I think he has. I think Cowherd has. He's talked about the Texans organization and how good they are.
I never heard
No,
that.
he has. And Coward actually, like a couple weeks ago, was giving credit for Caserio. I can't remember who they brought in, but they brought somebody into studio, and they called Coward and Coward's like producers and people, and they were asking Coward and his producers what they felt about the player and like how he acted, how he was behind the scenes, and they were doing their due diligence on the character of the player.
Good on
and
him
Coward,
if he did.
Yeah,
'Cause
Coward
I haven't
did
heard
do
that. And I know how critical he was.
I think SportsMap posted
with
it.
the Sean Payton stuff about the fact that because Sean was his buddy giving him inside scoop on when he was being pursued, that he just decided to go guns blazing all out.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that, and I'll send it to you because it was pretty interesting. Yeah, Coward did give him the flowers.
Good on him if he did.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's exactly. Like, concede your L's, et cetera, et cetera. All right, next one on NFL Draft Bad Take Boulevard special. Todd McShay, Merrill Hodge, they liked a certain quarterback over the great Aaron Rodgers, Blanker's favorite player.
I do like Braun better than Aaron Rodgers. Where Aaron Rodgers is right now in his career. Let's look at the positives with Braun. As Reese just mentioned, he's played in 2 pro-style systems. That's a plus when you come to the NFL. I thought he was more mobile as far as moving in the pocket and getting out of the pocket. And I felt a lot of times he was running for his life, too.
It's good timing. He gets rid of the ball on time. And when he gets into a rhythm, he can beat you in a lot of different ways. I honestly think Brian Braun 2 years from now could be the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Brian Braun's upside is greater than that of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, everybody thinks that Merrill Hodge is like the quarterback guru
Brian
now
Braun played
because he
Louisville?
was big on he played at Louisville.
What year was this that he was talking about? Was Rodgers already there at Green Bay?
No, I think they were the same draft class.
Okay.
No, I believe this was actually a couple years after.
Yeah, I thought Rodgers
really?
had played a couple years, and he was saying that
So maybe
he
he
won't
hadn't
be there
started
long.
yet.
I believe this is
Maybe
while
he was
Aaron
behind
Rodgers
Favre.
was
Oh,
still
maybe.
the backup and
Oh,
hadn't
maybe,
started
okay.
yet.
Yeah, it's funny, though, because Hodge is, like, considered this NFL quarterback guru because he hit on Stroud last year, and he was, like, right on Bryce Young. But then you go back enough time, and he's, like, dogging on Aaron Rodgers, who turned out to be pretty good quarterback.
I didn't really believe in Aaron Rodgers either.
I mean, it's hard to when you backed up for 2 years.
Yeah, I got a story on that.
Go for it.
So my buddy that I used to work with ended up working for Miller, and Miller
Was it Daryl Morey?
No, and Miller had a relationship with Packer players. And one year he said, "I'm cleaning out my closet at the end of the season at the office. I got this helmet I'm going to send you because I'm going to throw it out otherwise. Just take it." Okay. I go, "Well, what is it?" He goes, "Well, it's signed by the third-string quarterback. You can do what you want with it." And it was Aaron Rodgers. And I was like, what the hell do I want with this? I was like, you know what I can do? I can take rubbing alcohol, and I can rub the signature off of it, and then I can have it in case there's a Packer player that comes through or whatever like that. You know, in there you can get him to sign it. Oh, yeah, cool. He called me like 2 years later. He goes, "You didn't wipe that signature." And I go, "Yeah, I did." I was like, the minute you sent it to me, I got rid of it.
You did?
No.
Oh,
I didn't.
Oh, you just.
I luckily saved it and didn't go too far
You got
overboard till I saw him play. But, yeah, he was convinced that I had rubbed the signature off of it and that it was gone for good. But, yeah, I didn't really believe in him because he sat so long behind Favre, too.
The text line saying it was Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton was on again. I guess this was during Kyle Hamilton's draft. I guess he didn't love what they said because they passed on Kyle Hamilton and traded down and took Kenyon Green. That's a funny story, though. I'm glad you didn't rub the autograph off.
Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame?
Yeah, so it was a couple years ago.
Okay.
So it kind of doesn't add to the timeline, though. Because,
No.
that would have been before he was banging on the Texans.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe you might be onto something. Donald Trump, May 8, 2014. Do you have a good Trump impersonation?
No, Lance does.
Lance does. I mean, you have some pretty good ones. I thought you might have a Trump. Teams are making a big mistake not taking Johnny Manziel. He's going to be really good. Future POTUS.
Oof.
And now former POTUS and then maybe future POTUS. We'll see.
Jerry Jones was all over that too, wasn't he? But then he didn't pull the trigger at the end.
I think he got spooked off of him for some reason.
I think Steven talked him out of it.
Yes, that's the story. Steven, Jerry was gun-ho and was going to draft Johnny Manziel, but Steven Adams, his son, talked him out of it.
Not Steven Adams,
Steven
the
Adams.
backup for the Rockets. But
Sorry, Steven Jones.
Yes,
Steven Jones.
Steven Jones.
Yes, Jerry Jones' son, Steven Adams.
It's a big boy.
That's what spooked him. I mean, his son spooked him. Brendan Bowers, I've never heard of this guy. Don't know. This was in 2012. Don't know where you guys will be in 20 years, but I'll be in Canton for Trent Richardson's Hall of Fame speech. You know what? I'm stealing this tweet. And I'm going to tweet this about the first player the Houston Texans take in this draft. I'm going to do it. You
Trent
dare me to do
Richardson,
it?
the running back from Alabama.
And they made the big trade, remember?
That's right,
Remember
with Cleveland?
No, yeah, wasn't there –
Didn't
Brian,
he
you
go
might
to
remember
Cleveland?
this.
I
believe that there was a big draft day trade. Cleveland traded up, big draft day
Yep.
trade, traded for
Yep.
him, traded up, got him, and then 1 or 2 years ago they traded him to Indy
Yes.
in another big
Yep.
trade.
Yep.
Yes, they
That's
traded
right.
him away to Indy for a first-round pick.
Was there a trade up on draft day for the Browns to get Richardson?
That I don't remember.
I think that there was.
I think Cleveland traded up to get him too.
I'm not super confident on that, but I think that is the case. But I'm going to tweet that no matter what. People are going to think I'm crazy. I can't wait to do this.
That means Colin was right about Alabama running backs?
He's about one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
Mark.
How many?
Mark Ingram was pretty good.
Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram was good, not great.
What's his name? It's in Pittsburgh right now.
But he's more
Najee
good, not
Harris.
Najee Harris.
I don't think Najee Harris is
Eddie
great.
Lacy had a couple good years for
Eddie
the Packers.
Eddie Lacy ate himself out of the league, but early on he was really good for Green
Roll
Bay
Tide
for a couple of years.
Ain't give a bad word about anything but the Tide. And Chris Baldwin, I love Chris Baldwin. Chris Baldwin, I think, is one of the best riders in the city of Houston, but he's never going to live this down. April 29, 2011. Texans will rue the night. They take Pizza Boy J.J. Watt over Nick Fairley, Houston lover. I don't know what the Houston lover part means. What does the Houston lover part mean?
Farley's a Houston lover?
I don't know what that means.
Did Farley have some kind of ties to the city that made sense
know.
to draft him even more?
Maybe Houston loved Nick Fairley.
I told you this before. On the highway to hell, I got into it back and forth and got doubted and called out on the fact that I said J.J. Watt was going to be a guy that everybody's going to love here because of his ticker and his relentless motor and his abilities. And I watched him play every down, and they're like, you're out of your mind. He's a situational pass rusher, and he's not going to be more than that. It's like,
I nailed my draft take last year whenever I said the rest of the NFL was going to live in infamy about the Houston Texans trading up to number 3. There's a couple more here that are too good. I know we're up against it, but Mark Ryan, who used to do radio in Houston, now he's in Detroit. He's in Detroit now. I don't like what Tampa did trading up to take Aguayo. Remember, they traded up into the 3rd round to take a kicker? I don't love what they did.
Second round.
Second or 3rd round. I think you're right. I don't like what Tampa did trading up to take Aguayo. I love it. He'll make a greater impact in the win-loss column than half the first-rounders. How long before he was cut?
I like it. Like less than, was it a year?
Maybe. I think it was maybe a year or two. Maybe they held on to him for a year or two. That's an all-time.
Did he get hurt celebrating?
No, that was Grammatica. That was Grammatica.
Yeah, but not only Grammatica, but I thought he did too. I thought like he.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Now
I
that
thought
you
it was
say
like
that,
a hamstring. It wasn't like career-ending or anything, but I think he got hurt celebrating a kick.
Yeah, you never draft a kicker in the 2nd round, man, ever. Like, there's not enough of a gap between the best kicker and the mediocre kicker that you should be drafting a kicker in the 2nd round.
Packers drafted that kid last year from Auburn.
What round?
I forget. It wasn't that high, but they used a draft pick on him, and he was the reason why they lost a couple games last year. And now Carlson, they brought in his brother kicks for the Raiders. They brought in competition, and he's probably not going to make the team.
What is the earliest round you would take a kicker?
7th. 6th or 7th.
I'm probably with you.
Yeah.
I think anything top 5 rounds.
Because normally your 6th and 7th round picks are going to be special teamers that
and
maybe
you can cut those guys, and it's not a big deal.
Right. So I would say if you're going special teamers that might turn into something, why not kick your kicker and a punter at that point?
Yeah. 713-780-ESPN, HRP listener line, 713-780-3776. All right, what are your favorite draft bets tonight? I have a few prop bets that I like tonight. And also, there's some Texans odds on the first position that they'll be taking with their first pick. What would you be taking? What are some of your favorite draft bets? 713-780-3776. Killer Bees, ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
You're back with the Killer Bees.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Mobile Veritex Community Bank Studios.
Located at Spanish Flowers Restaurant on Durham.
We are at Spanish Flowers Restaurant on Durham. Great spot to have a bite, a drink, watch some sports, your Cinco de Mayo festivities, however you celebrate. Some drink specials all weekend long during Cinco de Mayo weekend. Patron, Don Julio, Castadores. Also, they'll be giving away prizes throughout the day during the Cinco de Mayo weekend, so you don't want to miss that. If you're looking for a spot to host a graduation party, company outing, whatever the case, happy hour, this is the spot, Spanish Flowers. 3 locations, North Freeway, up on 45. I drive by it every day. North Main, which is open 24 hours on weekends. We know we like to – some of you – I don't do this anymore. I know Blankers doesn't do this anymore. We know that around 2:05 a.m. on a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning, you like to eat for whatever reason. You like to eat around that time.
Soak up the extra ambiance when the bar is closed.
No idea why you would be hungry at that time. But North Main open 24 hours on weekends. This is the newest location we're at today on Durham and Shepherd. All right, NFL Draft first round tonight. Do you think the Texans trade into the first round?
I think there's a good chance.
Okay.
I think
that's excellent analysis there.
Well, I'm trying to put a percentage on it. I think there's definitely a chance. I think that, especially because I still think that he's looking at corner, and I think that there's going to be a surplus of offensive talent taken yet again with quarterbacks and receivers and offensive linemen, that some of the key defensive players might slide a little bit, and with them still having safety, corner, and defensive linemen at least somewhere on their position groups of interest, I think that I would say there's a 40% chance that he trades into
that
the
high.
Yeah,
that high. I think I gave it a 20-25% chance. Okay. I think it's a little bit unlikely. You know, you trade from 23 to 42, then back into the top 32. Now, I do think it's a 50% chance he trades up from 42, but I think it's more likely he trades higher into the second round tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
I don't think they make a pick. I'm 75% sure they don't make a pick today. That's where I'm at.
I could see. I think the other thing is, I think tomorrow night they could easily in the second round alone. I think he could trade back because a lot of those guys are going to continue to fall. I think that he.
So you're 50% trade into the first round and then trade back.
Well, I think it's a possibility. I think that he could end up with 3 second-round picks.
That's not a bad idea.
I think that you could get quality, and whether it's just best player available or the fact that guys are going to be sliding and for position groups you need. I could see them ending up with 3 seconds.
I would like that, actually. Like that Eagle trade that John Alexander proposed where you have 3 second-round picks. ESPN 97.5, by the way, will be your home for NFL draft coverage this year. The only place in town to hear every single first-round selection on the radio is right here. ESPN radio coverage of the NFL draft starts 6 p.m. tonight, so right after we're done, straight into NFL draft coverage. Chicago will be on the clock at 7. On Friday, the Texans will be on the clock, 2 picks in the second round, 1 pick in the third round. We'll have our own draft show. Join Paul, Dell, Joe, and others. Our very own Brian McDonald is others for our Texans draft show from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That is tomorrow night. You watching NFL Network or ESPN?
ESPN.
Me too.
Yeah, and you know what? I think ABC 13 does the more. They do all the special interest stories too, and kind of.
I thought it was the same telecast.
No, in years
it's a
past,
little different.
13, they split up the ESPN ABC crew.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
With 13 doing more special interest, in depth on some of the players taken.
I didn't know that.
And more analysis and X's and O's type things with the ESPN. That's how they've done it in the past. I don't know if they're going to continue to do that. But I'm normally the ESPN guy.
I always thought that they just had the same broadcast. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah, I watch ESPN too. I used to watch NFL Network when they had Mayock.
They used to put Kuiper and McShay or they'll put Riddick on one side, and then they'll put on the other side more their Aikman Buck type or their kind of their analysis type guys like game analysts.
I'm gonna look for that tonight. I have some draft bets that I like though. By the way, here are some draft bets I'll like. There's some Texans odds that exist that are out there too about like who they're gonna take with their first pick. So here are the bets that I made. I said I made 10. I think I made about 12, 15 of these. I have under 5.5 Big Ten players in the first round at plus 120. We won't get into the logistics here because it'll take a while. I have under 7.5 Pac-12 players in the first round. This is minus 200, so I'm not getting great value here.
Okay.
Now, here's the best value I'm getting when I'm looking at these conference-only bets. Under 9.5 SEC players in the first round, which I'm living dangerously here. I realize that because SEC players get drafted more than anybody else in the first round. Based on some of the, I'm not going to tell you how I did this. I'm not going to tell you how the sausage is made. I think there's going to be 9 SEC players taken in the first round. So I'm getting plus value when I think there's 9 SEC players getting taken in the first round. I mean, obviously I made the bet, so I like it. The top defensive player, I made this bet. I have Dallas Turner being the first defensive player taken. He's getting even money. I really don't know who else it would be besides Dallas Turner. Do y'all have another option that would be like a corner maybe?
Well, the corner from Alabama that's rated pretty highly is still, I think, rumored to be between 15 and 19.
See, I think Dallas Turner is going to be a top 10 pick. I don't think there's going to be another defensive player taken in the top 15 picks. I'm getting even money here.
Yeah, last segment, that's why I said the surplus on offensive players is going to be massive when you think about 4 to 6 quarterbacks possibly could go in the first round. Then you think about all those wide receivers, and then you think about the offensive tackles that we've talked about over and over when we've been doing our mocks, to where that's going to take up 3/4 of the first round right there alone.
Yeah, I don't know why it's even money because I think that he is a heavy favorite to be the the top defensive player taken. So that's one that I feel pretty good about. One of the other bets that I have J.C. Latham being the first offensive lineman taken. Now you have the Fashono guy from Penn State. Joe Alt's probably the biggest contender here. The offensive tackle from Notre Dame. I'm getting Latham at even money to be the first offensive lineman taken. I like this. Now I played 2 players before other player bets. I took Terrion Arnold to be drafted before Jared Verse. I'm not getting great value here, minus 200, but I think it's a slam dunk.
I think Verse is slide.
I do too, and I think Arnold's either going to be the first corner taken or the second corner taken. I would bet he's the first corner taken, and I know that I'm giving up tremendous value. Minus 200 is not great value, but I think this is a slam dunk. I think this is free money. The other one I have Byron Murphy being drafted before Olaleye Show, which
he's climbing though.
But I think Byron Murphy's got a chance to be a top 12 pick.
Yeah, 15 is as far as I think he slides that I've seen.
Who do you think goes first, Murphy or Olaleye?
I think it should be Murphy.
I am giving some value here. I'm taking it is the favorite. It's minus 180, but I think it's a slam dunk.
A lot of NFL guys like Leatu because of the fact that if not for the injuries of his past, that he would be a top 10 type pick. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people enamored with his versatility and his athleticism.
Okay, I don't feel as good about that pick now, but I still like it. Mm-hmm. I have J.C. Latham being the number 5 pick, period. I have J.C. Latham, number 5 pick, period. Now, there is a draft rumor out there that the Vikings are going to trade for Justin Herbert. That's been famous on TikTok. You can follow me at Jeremy J. Branham.
Did you see the Vegas odds on that?
What are they?
The Chargers went from odds for the Chargers to take a quarterback, but just by position by round. They said odds for the Chargers to take a quarterback in the first round was like 100 and something to 1. And then yesterday they went to 6 to 1.
Yeah, but they probably got betted down. It was probably the bettors doing that.
Maybe, but also you can't discount the fact that that crazy football coach likes to do these quirky things with quarterbacks, and he loves him some J.J. McCarthy.
See, I'm actually betting against that rumor. There's a couple of bets that I'm making against that rumor, and one of them's J.C. Latham being the 5th pick, because if that pick's traded, then it's not going to be J.C. Latham, because it's probably going to be J.J. McCarthy. If that pick's traded, it'll probably be McCarthy.
The reason why I would be questioning it too is
because that's the Chargers pick.
If there's a trade up, then there's 4 quarterbacks that go in the top 5, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Well, no one's I don't think anybody's trading to 4. You would trade to 5.
They were talking that people were trying to pry 4 from the Cardinals.
See, I think Arizona's locked and loaded.
I
think they've already selected Marvin Harrison Jr.
I would agree.
I really do. So I have Latham as the number 5 pick. See, this is me betting against that rumor, though, and I'm getting plus 225. Yeah. If that trade doesn't happen, I think J.C. Latham's the pick, and I'm getting plus 225. I think it's tremendous value.
The worst odds is the fact that they're going O-line, that Harbaugh likes to bulk up.
He's flat out said it. Yeah. It's not even a rumor. He said it. I have under 9.5 offensive linemen in the first round at plus 135. This one's scary. This one I have 9 offensive linemen going, but I'm getting plus value. Okay. If this was minus 135, I would not have made this bet because it's 130 plus 135, and I think 9 offensive linemen are going in the first round. I'm taking this one.
I think you win that one because I think that there's going to be an influx of trades late in the first round because of the fact that guys are slipping that a lot of teams want to move up to get. And I think that'll help your offensive lineman move to the second round.
The couple more surefire bets. I say surefire kind of tongue-in-cheek. 49ers pick a receiver with their first pick. What do you think the chances of them doing that are?
Well, because of the
31,
fact that,
pick 31.
Yeah, and because of the fact that there'll still be some good receivers that are sitting there, and the Ayuk situation's getting dicier by the day, I'd say it's pretty good.
I have it at plus 300. Ooh. Plus 300. I wouldn't have done it if it was less than plus 300, but plus 300, San Fran to pick a receiver. I have Dallas Turner being a top 10 pick at minus 125, and then I have Alumawoyo Fosuna being a top 10 pick at plus 300. So those are the bets that I have.
Okay.
Brian, any of those bets that you love, any of those bets that you hate?
Of yours specifically, or just other ones that I like?
Anyone, no, mine specifically.
I liked your number on the Big Ten players being drafted. I think I put some action on that as well.
Whoa, that thing's on fire.
Yeah,
Blankers just ordered food, and they're just lit it on fire.
The
That's
fajitas
awesome.
are literally on fire.
They're all right, what about other bets that I didn't bring up that you like, Brian?
There's one for how many cats will be shown during round one.
The stupid bet.
The over-under is 1. I'm going to take the under. I don't think we're going to see any cats tonight.
You said cats? I thought
does
you
a
said
logo
caps.
count? Does
No,
that
I
have to
said
be a
cats.
physical?
No, I agree with you, but I heard caps. Like, why?
no, I heard
why is this a
cats.
bet?
But doesn't
You know the answer to that.
Yeah, true.
Does a logo count? Or does that have to be like a physical?
You couldn't count the
Oh,
Lions
you know why they're
logo,
doing
no.
this? Because it's in Detroit, and there's lions.
Yeah, and the fact that I'm sure between Wildcats and
Is this a straight 50-50? Like, is it minus
No, it's,
like
yeah, the over-under
105 either way?
No, the over-under is just flat 1.
I kind of like over a half. Oh, it's 1? I think they can do it
So,
once.
yeah, you would need 2
does
cats to be
statue
shown.
count?
No, it's live. It's a live cat, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is for like the draft prospects,
You know
so
what?
they show the
What
parties
Can you
going
send
on.
Shasta
What
real quick?
channel?
That's
It
a good
doesn't
point
specify.
too.
It doesn't specify.
So that's a good point too, because there's an argument to be made that it could be shown on one network and not the other.
Yeah, I bet you they
one or two.
specify like in the fine print. I think there will be one cat shown, but if I had to pick one side of this, I would take the under because I don't think it'll be over 1. It'll be once and once only. What else you like?
I also like for the number 1 overall pick, which we all know obviously is going to be Caleb Williams. There's odds on who he will hug first. I like the odds-on favorite. Mom is at plus 125. I will take that. The other options being dad, girlfriend, and agent, but I think mom gets the first hug.
Yeah, I'd hug the agent.
Really?
What about pink phone?
I'm kidding, kind of. I'm kidding.
Well,
what about?
It's funny that you mentioned that, Joel, because there is odds on what color Caleb Williams' nail paint's going to be.
Well, it's not only his nail paint and his phone case. That was all the rage a couple of weeks ago.
And his favorite 4-letter word.
Oh, is it?
I remember we did with Utah. He had naughty things to say about Utah.
Yes, he did.
Very naughty things to say about Utah.
The favorite, if you want to get action down on the primary color of Caleb Williams' nail polish, is black at plus 150.
That's probably safe.
Jalen would like it.
That's probably a safe bet. Let's look at the odds on the Texans, the first position that they'll take. And also, I heard Lance doing this earlier, call or texting your questions into the preeminent draft expert. Well, you can call or text your draft questions in right now, 713-780-ESPN, HRP listener line, 713-780-3776, to the non-preeminent draft experts. It's the Killer Bees broadcasting live from Spanish Flowers on Durham on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5. Gentle Bin's the best. I mean, I can just lead with that because it's true. It all starts with the finest ingredients, classic, time-honored distilling methods. Gentle Bin uses a revolutionary technology that eliminates impurities for the cleanest, smoothest spirits that you'll ever taste. You'll love what's in Gentle Bin, you'll love what's not in Gentle Bin, including VOCs, or volatile organic compounds, VOCs. The Gentle Bin purification process takes these out, which can lead to coughing when you're drinking the other brands. You don't want that in your spirits, and you will not find VOCs, volatile organic compounds, in your Gentle Bin. You get all the flavor, none of the burn, whether it's the vodka, gin, straight bourbon whiskey, or the cast strength bourbon. Next time you head to dinner or go to your favorite bar, ask for Gentle Bin. Look for Gentle Bin at the liquor store. Whatever's on the way home, pick up a bottle or two today. Head to the tasting room in Alvin. That's a great spot to have a drink. Also, Minute Maid Park. They have a station right there to the left of the Crawford boxes. You can stop by, pick up some Gentle Bin on the way to your seats, and you might need a little bit more Gentle Bin when you watch your Astros this year. Head to gentlebin.com to learn their incredible incredible story, the fantastic legacy that is Gentle Ben. And you can also order straight from the website, the vodka, the gin, the bourbon, the whiskey, all from the website, gentleben.com. Gentle Ben, all of the flavor, none of the burn.
The Killer Bees are broadcasting live from inside the Mobile Veritex Community Bank Studios.
Located at Spanish Flowers Restaurant on Durham.
Now back to Joel Blank and Jeremy Branham.
Killer Bees at Spanish Flowers, the new one on Durham. Great spot to have dinner. Great spot to have a drink. They just brought out a margarita that was on fire to that table to the far back. What is that?
I think it's a birthday celebration.
I mean, I like to celebrate that any day if that's what they're bringing
That
out
is
to
a
me.
massive
How many ounces
tower
would you say that is?
of booze.
How many ounces? 100 ounces?
50.
50? Okay.
Because where were we?
It is very skinny.
Where were we? They did the volleyball off of I-10.
Yeah.
At Decoy, they do.
Decoy.
Don't they do the 100 ounce?
Yeah, that one's a little fatter.
Tower of beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd go 50.
Huh. I'm thinking. Okay. I'm thinking it's between that. I think it's like 75. Whatever. It looks delicious. It looks fantastic. Your food smells very good.
Fantastic.
I know you didn't offer me any, but that's all right.
Did you eat all yours and offer me any? No.
I didn't offer you a single thing, but I'm worried about me, not you.
That's right.
Come out here to Cinco de Mayo celebration all weekend long. During Cinco de Mayo, Patron, Don Julio, Cazadores specials, also giving away prizes all throughout the day during the Cinco de Mayo weekend. This is where you want to be, Cinco de Mayo. Also, great spot to watch a game. You know, it's a really good spot. Margaritas, fajitas, whatever's on sports that day. Wall-to-wall TVs, fantastic. 3 locations in Houston. We're here at Durham today. North Bain, which is open 24 hours on weekends, and then the North Freeway location as well. All right, 713-780-ESPN. This is your chance to ask the non-preeminent draft experts your draft question, 713-780-3776. We'll get to those in just a moment. Here were the odds that I found this morning. I think Brian's might be a little bit different, but these are the odds that I found today on the first position the Houston Texans take, or the position of the first pick. So whenever they pick, could be a trade up, trade down, 42, doesn't matter. Their first pick plays this position. Quarterbacks plus 15,000. Okay, we can throw that one away. Running back plus 2,500. Wide receivers plus 4,000. Tight ends plus 5,000. Offensive lineman plus 160. Defensive lineman plus 200. Linebacker plus 600. Safety plus 500. Corner is plus 250. And then they have a specialist, special teams, special players at plus 20,000. Where is the value here? What do you like here?
I think there's a sleeper value maybe at tight end.
See, I don't think they drafted tight end in the second.
No?
I don't think so. The offensive
There's no
lineman,
value, but I think there's still enough. There's some value in corner.
I think there's value there.
Because I think they're looking hard at corner still.
Offensive lineman at plus 160s, there's not enough value there for me. Like, that's their first pick. I'm out on that one. I don't hate the skill positions. Like, everybody thinks that the Texans are out on wide receiver. They have two receivers that are in the final year of their deal. Like, and I'm getting plus 4,000 here, or
totally
running back.
with you. I heard Joe
running
and
back at
Paulie
plus 2,500.
basically eliminating any consideration for a receiver. And I'm driving and I'm talking to the radio, going, wait a minute, guys. Like, in a year's time after the season's over, say they both do well, you can probably only afford to pay one of them because they're both going to get big time money. And you look at the money that Amon-Ra St. Brown signed for. The number one wide receiver money just went up. And the fact is, you have the chance of losing both those guys if other teams are willing to outbid you or throw more money at them to where you're going to need more depth in the wide receiver room. I think there's a legit chance they're still looking at wide receiver.
Well, at plus 4,000. Like, the value
Great
there's
odds.
like, if it was plus 200, I'm out. But plus 4,000, like that intrigues me. So does running back. Like, what if they are in love with Jonathan Brooks? Here's the thing. They have two pro running backs currently on their roster. Shout out our guy, J.J. Taylor, who's on a reserve futures deal. We love J.J. Taylor. We think he's going to be a steal someday. But they have two real-life NFL running backs at this moment. They're going to draft a running back in this draft. Would it be out of the realm of possibility that they trade down 7 spots and then take Jonathan Brooks at plus 2,500?
I don't think.
I
it's
think
out of
that's
the
in
realm of
play.
I think that definitely
at
is
plus
in play.
2,500. I don't hate that bet. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't dabbled on Texans picks at all. I told you all the bets that I made earlier. I might dabble a little bit on wide receiver and running back. Now, I don't think that's what they're going to do, but this value, I don't hate.
It's hard to
the
walk
value
away
there.
from it just because you don't have to put that much down and you could really hit it big. And I really think there's a legit plan in place where, because of the situation I laid out, that they will look at receiver in the second round.
I might go crazy and make like 3 bets because, like, corner at plus 250, safety's plus 500. Did you say safety's plus 500?
Well, because all along I've said it's corner, safety, and D tackle that I think they're going to consider. And I think D tackle has gone from 2 to 3. So I think that, I think corner and safety, if there's good numbers on it, I think there's definitely value there.
I wish corner was plus 300 because if corner was plus 300, I would make a bet on corner, running back, and wide receiver. And if it happened to be a corner, then it's a wash. And then if it happened to be a running back and a wide receiver, I'm making a huge profit.
Yep.
But the fact that it's 250, I can't do that. I can't make 3 bets with plus 250 being the cornerback option there. But I do
appreciate the level of in-depth thought and information you put into your bets.
If it's plus 300, it's a massive hedge.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 250 if cornerback hits, then I'm losing $50. So like I'm going to hesitate there. Like, if I'm going to play corner, I'm just going to go corner strictly. I'm going to have to think about that on the drive home. Because I wish it was plus 300. If it was plus 300, I'd just bet all 3. Plus 250, I can't. So I have 2 options here. Either I play just corner at plus 250, or I play running back, wide receiver, half a unit each at plus 250 for running back and plus 4,000 at wide receiver. Which of those should I do?
I like
should I
corner
gamble
better.
a little bit?
I like corner better.
You know what? I might not even have to make this decision today. I could wait till tomorrow.
True. Very true. Based on how it kind of shakes out in the first round, it's very true.
I might just wait on that. 713-780-3776. Let's go out to the HRP listener line. Travis in Springs got a question for the non-preeminent draft experts. Travis, you're in the hive of the bees. What's up?
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Hey, I saw in a mock draft that Philadelphia might take Kool-Aid at like 26 or 27. Do you think if he's there before them, Texans might jump up and try to take him, obviously being from Alabama and D'Amico's connection there? Do you think they might do something like that? I'll hang up and listen.
I think that they're one of the position groups that we said is of strength in this draft where there's a lot of quality corners. It means that I don't think that they would do that. I think that they have enough evaluation on all these corners, and I'm sure that there's tiers to all of them, but I would believe that for the first two tiers, as we're talking about where that pick might fall that you mentioned, is probably going to be a couple guys that you are going to be in their range, and one of them probably would still have the chance to slide to them at 42, to where I don't. But don't discount the fact that Will Anderson was just talking swimmingly about Kool-Aid on Texans radio a week ago, and you know how much Nick Caserio likes his SEC players.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to trade up into the first round for Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I mean, I would be guessing on their big board and like who they like. I'm not a huge fan of Kool-Aid, so I wouldn't be trading into the first round for Kool-Aid. And maybe I'm putting too much value in the fact
his stock has slid in the last month.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be late. 20 to 25 first round, because we were talking about him in a lot of the mocks we were doing with the Texans when they had their pick at 23, and now there's a good chance in most people's mocks that he slides to the second round.
I like some of the names I'm seeing at corner at 42 anyways. Where like I'm not making this trade up into the first round for Kool-Aid, so I'm probably out on that. But I mean, I don't know their draft board. Like, I have no idea. 50-50 on the text line. Hey, I know you're really busy, but my mom and I are huge fans of Cooper Beebe. I'd like to know why you and your mom are huge fans of Cooper Beebe. But anyways, we're huge fans of Cooper Beebe on Kansas State. He's a guard. I know him well. Where do you think he'll get drafted? I think, and you're asking the non-preeminent draft experts.
Sixth
of the NFL
round.
draft. No. He's a top 3-round guy.
Oh, okay.
I think that safe money is that he'll be an early third. I think he could sneak into the second, though. I'm a big fan of his game. Now, I have a Big 12 bias, Power 4 football. Probably safely a third-round pick. I think there's a possibility he could jump into the top 2 rounds. Personally.
Yeah, I'm a far less than preeminent draft expert on that one.
After last year's excitement, is anyone else going to be disappointed if we don't make any splashy moves this weekend?
No, because I think they made enough splashy moves leading up to the draft. I mean, I think they did way more than anybody in their right mind could have expected for this team to do this offseason with the trade for Diggs, with the amount of money and the quality of player they brought in free agency, with the trade for Joe Mixon. I think that they probably should have checked off most of the boxes to make most Texans fans so giddy before the draft even happened that you don't have to have the kind of draft you did a year ago.
Yeah, I'm not I don't want I say I don't want it. I don't care if they are. The Texans have positioned themselves in a spot where they don't need to be splashy. Their roster is good enough to, like, chill. Maybe you trade up 3 to 4 spots. Maybe you trade down 3 or 4 spots, and you take best player available. I personally would not be disappointed. I get the sense, too, that Texans fans really wouldn't be disappointed either because they like their roster. They like what they have going right now. They love C.J. Stroud. They like the arrow on this organization. So I don't think that there would be disappointment there. This texter says if the Arizona Cardinals offered us their first-round pick for Stephon Diggs and our number one pick next year, would you make the deal? So Arizona offers the Texans 4 for Stephon Diggs and the Texans 2025 first-round pick.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would do that.
If I got Marvin Harrison Jr. in that deal,
yeah, I mean, this is incredibly unrealistic.
Yeah, it's off. It's not even a possibility.
Yes,
yeah,
the answer is yes.
I've dreamt long and hard about the fact that you could pair those two guys up that played together in college and have them for the foreseeable future. That would be pretty awesome.
2585. What if Jonathan Brooks is on the board in the second for the Texans receiver? I don't understand the last part, so we'll just delete the receiver word.
Just if he's there in the second.
Yeah, I don't think many people would be pleased with it. I would be happy with the pick. I do think that it is a –
it's a big picture.
I'm not a huge – yeah, big picture for sure. I'm usually not a drafted running back in the first 2, maybe even 3 rounds. But if you feel that he has a first-round grade, you have Mixon that's going to be the starter until, like, he is beaten out by Jonathan Brooks. I don't hate the idea, if you believe that Jonathan Brooks is a first-round type running back, that you draft him, and he is a big piece of this offense for the next 4 years, aside C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, and if you re-sign one of the receivers. I think it's a luxury pick, but I think the Texans are in a position to make a luxury pick.
No doubt. I think that's the way that we were talking about the other day, too, the fact that when you look at street free agents that are still out there that are quality football players, they're still guys at every position that have not found a new team yet that you could go out and get. If you know that, you don't need the draft for that, and you see that there's a chance for the next 3 to 5 years, you get the running back of the future that can also still help you later in this season and add depth to your running back room, which we know they have to do, then so be it and go do it, because they have enough quality players at just about every position that if they were going to tell me with Henderson and Okudah that they're good at corner going into the season and they're not going to draft one, then I can accept that because of the fact that they've added so many players all across that defense to where I believe that they know what they're doing.
All right, 2 questions real quick. One non-Texans, one Texans. To the non-preeminent draft experts, 1542, what is the highest you could see the Colts trading up?
They really want Brock Bowers into the top 10. I think I could see them at 9 or 10 trading up into the top 10 to get Brock Bowers.
I think they stick and pick. I don't believe in taking a tight end in the top 10. You don't get the dollar savings by drafting a tight end there. Right. Whenever you're drafting a tight end that high, you're basically drafting a tight end and already paying them at the top of the market. Like when you draft a quarterback, defensive end, wide receiver, corner, almost every other position, you're getting incredible savings against the cap where you're not getting in tight end. I think top 10's too high for Brock. I don't know if he gets to the Colts at 15. Maybe the Colts trade up a couple spots for him. I don't think that Brock's going to be a top 10 pick.
I saw a couple of mocks where they projected 9 and 10 were in play for the Colts to try and get him because there might be a couple
It wouldn't stun me. I wouldn't draft a tight end in the top 10.
Now, Irsay's out of the room, so maybe they can get their stuff done this year.
I think there's less likely that they would trade up then. I think Irsay would be more likely to trade up for that.
Yeah, he's more like Crane. He likes the
I think he'd be
picks.
more likely to do that. I think that Ballard would be a little bit more sensical. Wheatstraw, after the pro day at Johnny Newton, would y'all be mad if they trade up to nab him late in the first? No, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad with just about anything in this draft. I kind of put my faith in Casario and D'Amico.
We're looking at 10 starters, and how many of those are going to have to come from the draft when all this started? Now, based on everything that they've been able to do and the execute between trades and free agency, it's a whole lot of fluff, right? Yeah, there's a couple positions of need, but the urgency is a lot less because of what they were able to orchestrate leading up to tonight.
0841. Will Tony Khan be wearing a neck brace in the Jaguars' war room? Ha, 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 ha. 713-780-ESPN. Willabit's coming up next. You never know what you're going to get with the Willabit's, but you know it's going to be great. It's the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5, ESPN 92.5, live from Spanish Flowers on Durham.
Hey, one more word from my good friend Doc Linville. Doc Linville, best in the business at the NeoGraft procedure. If you don't know what it is, but you're losing your hair, you probably need the information that you're going to be able to get for free. It normally costs $150. Just go to 975hair.com and learn about the NeoGraft procedure. It's really, truly getting your hair back. It's your own hair, taken from parts of your scalp that you're never going to lose your hair. Sides in the back of your head genetically are never going anywhere, no matter how bald you go elsewhere. Doc Linville takes some of that. He repurposes it where you need it, and you see the results. I mean, overnight you see where the hair is and it starts to grow. In 6 to 9 months you see the true results, and you are going to be absolutely pleased. It's fantastic. Go to 975hair.com right now. Get your free consultation and set it up right there online with Doc and his staff. It normally costs $150. Because you listen to us, you get it for free, and you can see just how much of a game changer this procedure can be. Check them out. Ask questions, get answers. Find out if it's right for you, too. If it was for you like it is for me, then I'm telling you, and I'm here to tell you as living proof, it is a game changer that I will never regret doing. Check it out today. Go to 975hair.com.
The Killer Bees are back, and I honestly have no idea what's happening next. Could it be the next great big food debate? The biggest Joel rant of all time? Jeremy trolling someone to the point of crying? Or just some actual bees making some honey? Well, let's find out. It's time for the Wheel of Bits.
Oh my goodness, would you look at this? What an enormous spin.
Let's play Texan or Madden.
Texan or Madden? What in the world is this? Real quick, by the way, Killer Bees broadcasting live, Spanish Flowers, Durham. Great spot for Tex-Mex, great spot for margaritas, your sports, your Cinco de Mayo plans, drink specials, giving away things during Cinco de Mayo, flaming margaritas, flaming fajitas, all fantastic. Also, the Astros have made a corresponding move for Framber Valdez.
Oh, really?
They have optioned down J.P. France.
Wow.
J.P. France, welcome to Sugarland. You're a space cowboy again. Should have traded him in the offseason for a reliever or utility man.
Space cowboy for life.
Space cow, yeah.
Once you're
At
space
30.
cowboy, you're always a space cowboy.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, good point.
And you're a gangster of love.
What does that mean?
Steve Miller Band.
Oh, good call. Well done. That was well done. I like that one. Really well done. Okay, Texan or Madden? I think I understand where you're going with this.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you guys a series of names, and you're going to have to tell me, is this a player, an actual real player who was drafted by the Houston Texans, or a Madden-generated player?
Okay.
And
all right.
you can go. You can either decide to team up as a team or go head-to-head, your choice.
No, let's go head-to-head.
Yeah, I suck at this, so that's, yeah.
I won't be good
but
at
I'm
this
game.
either. I don't think I'd be good at this unless it's recent memory.
All right, so you want to do 7?
J.J. Watt. Yeah, I'll do 7.
Okay, let's do 7. All right, first one on the list.
Best of 7.
And again, this is either a player drafted by the Houston Texans or a name generated by the Madden NFL Draft Generator. All right.
That music ramped up.
Yeah, I had a little bit higher than I was expecting it to be. All right, first name on the list, Styles G. White. Madden player or real Texans player?
I'll say Madden player.
Yeah, me too. I've never heard of
Styles
G. White. Madden player.
It's a hairy situation, but
I think that was a wrong.
Yeah, that was wrong. Styles
We
G.
both
White,
got it wrong.
Styles G. White was a 7th-round pick in 2002, a defensive end from Minnesota.
2002.
Big Ten guy.
I wasn't even born then.
Okay.
All right, I'll go first on this one.
All right, next player, Darius Pryor.
I've never heard of a Darius Pryor, thus I'll guess a Madden player.
Joel?
Well, then I'll say, obviously, it's going to be a Texans player because that sounds like and Brian probably roped me into this, but I'll say it sounds like an NFL-type player's name.
Jeremy
Tough
gets
guy.
a point. That is a
Yes.
fake player generated by Madden.
Oh, well.
See, Brian's shrewd with
Yeah,
it. He doesn't
he
do
is.
the. He kind of goes away from the
bush-
obvious.
he's
He
bush
tries
league.
to
It's
get
just
us.
another way of putting
He
it.
tries to get over on us. I've noticed this. He's got to tell. All right, number 3.
All right, number 3, Vontez Duff.
Vontez Duff.
Is this me or you?
This is your turn.
I'm going to say that's a Madden player.
You know, Vontez Burfict is a streamer nowadays.
He's a streamer?
Yeah, he plays Madden with Stetch.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Does he
all the
still
time.
get late hits?
It's Sketch, not Stetch. Vontez Duff. What did you say? He was a Madden player?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Madden player, too. I've never heard of this guy.
You were both incorrect. Vontez
Man.
Duff was a 2004 6th-round pick for the Texans cornerback out of Notre Dame.
Really?
Corner or quarter?
Corner.
Okay.
Yeah, corner. All right,
Interesting.
number 4. So Jeremy's up 1-0 going into player number 4. Next player, Curry Burns.
Curry, yeah.
Yes,
I've never heard of Curry
C-U-R-R-Y
Burns.
Burns.
My philosophy coming into this game is if I've never heard of them, I'm going to say it's a Madden player. And I've never heard of Curry Burns, so a Madden player.
I'm going to say Madden player as well because we know Chef Curry doesn't burn anything.
Well, you're both wrong again. Curry
Wow.
Burns was a 2003 7th-round pick, a safety out of Louisville.
Oh, wow. How do you spell his name?
C-U-R-R-Y,
Okay, all right.
and then
all right,
Burns.
that's all I knew.
All right, number 5.
The winner of this game is Brian.
Yes, for sure.
So far. Or Madden, apparently. Number 5, Jamario Bellows.
You or me?
It's your turn.
I mean, just by law of averages, I'm going to say Madden player. There's been a whole lot of Texans late-round draft picks.
Yeah, I've never heard of this guy either, so I'm going to say Madden as
All
well.
right, congratulations. You are
Yes.
both correct. That is a Madden-generated name. All right, we go into question number 6. Jeremy up 2-1.
Shut up,
Philip Okafor is your next name. Philip Okafor.
Philip Okafor. They drafted an Okafor. Who is that really young guy from Louisville? It wasn't this guy, though. I'm going to go Madden player. I've never heard of this guy either.
For the sake of trying to even the game,
smart of you.
I'm going to go Texans player.
Smart of you.
Well, actually, Jeremy gets another point. That is a Madden player.
Amobi Okoye.
Amobi
That's
Okoye
it.
was the player out of Louisville. I didn't want to give you the answer while you were trying
they
to figure it.
overextended, and then he went to the Bears.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't him. I knew it wasn't that name. I just couldn't remember the name. Amobi Okoye. He was like 17 when they drafted him.
Yeah,
that's probably not accurate.
Where did he play college ball?
Louisville.
Oh, he did? Oh.
Yeah. He was really, really young. I think he was like the youngest player in the NFL.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was still a teenager, yeah. Wasted
Still a
pick there
teenager.
for sure. All right, last one.
There's more?
Yeah, we said 7. That was number 6. So Joel's playing for pride here, but one
I thought
more.
that was 7.
Last one, number 7. Shelly Smith, Texans player or Madden player?
Sounds like a comment.
Sideline reporter for ESPN.
We both had jokes there.
Well, she was. She might still be.
That's for real? I thought that was a
Shelly Smith? Oh yeah, redhead.
I thought her name was not Shelly Smith.
Oh, there's 2 of them. But Shelly Smith used to be on ESPN as a sideline reporter.
Who am I thinking
Redhead.
of?
You're thinking about she does jazz basketball too.
No, I'm thinking of the one that currently works there.
That does
she
WNBA
college
as
football.
well. Holly Rowe.
Holly Rowe.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of.
Completely
she told me I
different
had
name.
a nice tie once, Holly Rowe. Yeah, it's not even close to the same.
Shelly's a Texan.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm going to say Texan. I'll play defense here.
Yeah, they're both. You're both right. That is a Texans pick, 2010 6th-round pick, an offensive guard out of Colorado State.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jeremy. The game sucked.
I didn't win this game. Brian won this game. Brian had us.
Just to make you feel worse, I gave this game to Michael Carroll and I actually rated him out a list of 12 names. He went 10 for 12. So apparently
That's
Michael
not very
Carroll,
nice.
With our
savant
same
of
list?
this. Sorry?
How many of the 7 did he get right?
He got actually all 7. The
He
two
got
that
all 7 of ours
yeah,
right?
Yeah, the 2 that he got
Wow.
wrongs were actually 9 and 10. So
Why do they put us on radio, not Michael
It's
Carroll?
not Michael Kuiper Jr. Where the hell did he get that from? He's supposed to be nose deep in comic books.
I don't believe it. I don't believe he went 7 for 7.
he seemed to figure out a tell I had, so you might want to talk to him for who said it. Not that you should, but just saying.
He figured out a tell that you had?
Yeah, that's what he said. He kind of figured out a pattern and was able to guess it pretty easily.
Huh. I am going to have a talk with Michael Carroll. All right, I won. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, car wreck of the day. What is your car wreck of the day? 713-780-3776. Killer Bees live from Spanish Flowers on Durham on ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5.
Hey, before we go to the break, a word for Vanderford Air because they're really, really good at what they do, and they do it for you on a daily basis. You got plumbing issues, you're thinking about repiping, you need to have a number that is ready to go whenever you need to call on somebody for plumbing. You need to put Vanderford Air's number in your phone. Same thing with HVAC, air conditioning. You got to get your units primed up now before the weather gets too hot. Do a little bit of a checkup. Make sure that everything's working. And if it's not, make sure it's fixed before it gets to the dog days of summer. VanderfordAir.com. Vanderford's going to take care of you in a variety of ways. The big things that I really focus on because I really love them is a lot of times when you deal with plumbing and air conditioning companies because you need them quickly, they'll say, yeah, we'll get to you next week. We'll get you in a couple days. We're really backloaded, and we don't have time for this right now. When you need them, immediately. Vanderford's got a commitment. Within 24 hours of you calling them, they're going to be at your door doing what they need to do. That means you don't have to wait for days on end, sweltering through the heat or dealing with plumbing issues. They're going to be there. And the greatest thing that I love about them and why I speak for them, 100% money-back guarantee. No matter what they do, they're going to back their work, back the products, back the services, and back everything that they do so that you are covered or your money back. It's fantastic. From the parts to the actual full system replacements, they are going to make sure that the parts and or everything works properly, the temperature gets to exactly what you need, where you need it to be, or the plumbing issues are fixed 100% of the time. And if they're not, then you're not satisfied, then you tell them and you get your money back because that's how they want to do business. They want to be trusted because of the work they do and the commitment that they serve to the community, not just because of the fact that they're the first name in the phone book. Check them out today. They're going to love every step of the way because they're going to take care of you. Call them at 281-557-COOL. 281-557-COOL or look them up online, VanderfordAir.com.
Thanks so much for Spanish Flowers having us out to their new location on Durham. 3 spots. This one on Durham, North Freeway, North Main, open 24 hours on weekends. Great food. Blankers had the chicken fajitas.
Chicken fajitas,
I had the
absolutely
beef
outstanding.
fajitas. They were both great. Drinks are fantastic. Cinco de Mayo coming up right around the corner. They're going to have drink specials, Patron, Don Julio, Constadores. They'll be giving away prizes all weekend during Cinco de Mayo as well. This is your spot for Cinco de Mayo. It's your happy hour spot, your dinner spot. It's where you want to watch your games, too, wall-to-wall TV. It's a fantastic place, and thanks to them for having us out tonight. We really appreciate it.
And their waiter looks like Yiner Diaz.
We have to hurry up with our car wreck of the day.
Oh, sorry.
NFL draft coverage is coming up quickly. Looks like Yiner.
Yeah,
Hope he hits with runners in scoring position. What are you?
Runners in scoring position.
I nominate a spot as ejection. That was such a weak ejection.
I was just going back to last night.
That's
the
fine.
fact that you go 3rd through 6th inning with multiple runners on base in each inning and you can't cash in, that's brutal.
That's a good call. Josh from Seabrook, Brian saying Jerry Jones' son, Steven Adams.
I stand by it.
What are you nominating, Brian?
Jerry was busy back in the
Montero
day.
up and down.
That's true.
Think Jerry was ever in Australia back in the day?
He has
Maybe.
a lot of kids that don't have his last name. What did you say, Brian? Something about Australia?
Rafael Montero up and down.
Oh, the spot
using
is
him a second
decision.
inning.
I didn't like that.
Did it with Abreu, too,
We'll
didn't
talk
he?
about that tomorrow, yes.
Yeah.
All right, what's winning?
Astros, period.
All right, Astros, period. Any objection, Brian?
None.
All right, Astros, congratulations. It's second day in a row. Car wreck of the day, the Houston Astros.
Don't think it'll be the last.
Thanks to Spanish Flowers. Thanks to Brian doing the hard work. Thanks to Mir for on-site engineering.
Yes, great job,
He's
Jeremy.
Blank. I'm Brandon. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Houston. NFL Draft up next.